No, all right, let's try again. Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton. Along with me, as always, is the hurried holiday hero, Bethany McChesney. By the way, that was take two. A take two out of like 196 episodes. That's pretty good.
This is, I think, the first time that you've ever fumbled.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do, right? I'm on a holiday.
Yeah,
It's holidays.
there
That's
you
it.
go.
It's Canada Day. Happy Canada Day, Bethany. We never said that when we started this. Happy Canada Day. I have had three non-alcoholic beers.
Oh wow. I have
Mm.
one here too.
Do
It's
you?
the All Out Athletic
The
Brewing
All
Company.
Out
It's really good.
Stout. I
Yeah,
could
it's very
use
dark.
another non-alcoholic beer if someone was listening. Anyway, um, yeah, that's one of Rye's favorites. She likes the All Out. She actually does a non-alcoholic black and tan.
Where you mix them?
Yeah, and it like kind of separates, but she says you have to do it in reverse compared to a
Oh,
regular one.
interesting.
Yeah,
Huh.
but yeah, she played with it and she says it is really
Yeah.
good though. So
It
she
is, yeah, this one's it's very thick. Like I feel like I need water at the same time, but
yeah, well, so she mixes the IPA with the All Out Stout, and it's really good.
oh yeah.
By the way, I just got my daughter today. She just got hooked on the pale, or not the pale, the golden.
Oh, I love them. I have lots still.
Light is still my favorite, far and away.
Yeah, you're a light beer drinker.
I
I'm not.
like it. It's good. It's just perfect. But you can't get it in the store. I have to order it all the time,
Mm.
because you can't get it. You always get those three in the store. But
So are you not on the shipping program? Because my brother is on a shipping plan, so he gets shipped a new case or whatever, a certain amount every week or month.
yeah, I do order every time. So I just order,
Uh,
and plus because I then get the ambassador thing, so all the points go towards it. So you have to do a separate order. You can't just get it
mhm.
shipped because then I would have to pay full price for it,
Oh,
and I'm cheap.
yes. It's okay. Thrifty.
Thrifty, yes. It's my Celtic roots. Did you do anything for the long weekend? Did you guys get up to anything?
No, like nothing really special. We did some gym things. Still some unpacking and some bonfires and stuff like that. So nothing too special. I did a really, really long workout on Sunday, which was planned.
Yeah, you got
Yeah,
to
so
go through
it's
that. Go through
yeah,
that too because we can talk about your prep for the ultra that
yeah.
way.
I did buy a paddleboard though this weekend, or this week. So I had contemplated that, but the weather's been really weird. It's hot and then it was storming and then it was cold and so it's just been all really weird. So we didn't, but yes, I went to go buy a rower on Marketplace and
Mhm.
then he offered me, oh, there you go.
It's a cerveza, athletic brew cerveza.
Oh, that's a kind.
Yes, 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 yes.
The light one.
It's no, it's different than the light one. It's like more like a Mexican style beer, so like a Corona style beer.
Oh, gotcha.
Anyway,
Yeah.
back to your stuff.
Yeah, I
Your
went to go pick up
paddleboard.
another rower, and the guy was like, "I'm moving. I need everything gone. Do you want a paddleboard?" So I'm like, "Okay." And he offered it to me for a really cheap price, like never been used. So I also have a paddleboard. So we had contemplated doing that too, but there's just been storm warnings everywhere this weekend. So
Today was gorgeous.
I know,
So today we
but I
went.
I can barely move today from my workout yesterday.
Okay, so go through your workout. Go through your. This is on because this is stuff we should talk about. Go through your workout because this was this. You're prepping for the Deka Ultra.
Yeah, and I feel a little bit like I might be cramming for the exam, being 3 weeks out right now, which is not what you do for races, but I've kind of been putting it in a way just out of my head a little bit. And we did a lot of mileage and long, long stuff in the so-called off season that we had. So I did feel like that prepped me a bit too, but um yeah, so this weekend I was like, I'm gonna do a couple DECA fits in a row and just see what it feels like, what the different stations kind of feel like under fatigue. And I did a Hyrox workout first with the gym that I train with in London, and it was a really like heavy, heavy lunge day. So my
Oh,
legs were pretty much and like a whole lot of calories on the assault bike. So my quads were kind of blown up before I started, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because it does give you a bit better of a feel of what it might feel like in this race in like the fifth, fourth
Yeah.
Deca fit in a row. Um, yeah, so then I put on two Deca fits right after the workout finished, and I was trying to figure out what paces to do everything in, basically, that I felt like I could handle later, and same thing with my running pace. Um, to be honest, the 500-meter runs got to be, even just within the 2 rounds, got to be like super boring. And we're running around a parking lot, and I did it 20 times, and we also did it within the workout, the Hyrox workout that we did before. So it's like, man, I don't want to go back out and run that loop again. It's super boring. And then yeah, so I've got a pretty good feel for what I think I can handle for each of the Deca fits in a row, that I could probably relatively comfortably sustain. But I'm dreading the laps on laps on laps.
Think about it though, in this way. Like I'm a person who I've always been really impressed and fascinated with the ultra stuff, and I did World's Toughest Mudder and all that stuff, and I like it. I
Hmm.
like, but I cannot train for it. Drives me nuts. Just hate it. I think that when you're actually racing and you're in
Yeah,
your mind, you're gonna be like, I'm racing. So I think then you won't care about the monotony of the laps or whatever. It'll be like I'm
yeah,
racing, focused. I'm focused on my pace. I'm focused on this next station. I'm focused. Where is she? Where is she? Where is she? Where is he?
yeah.
What's my nutrition? I think you'll be more focused and you'll be less concerned about the monotony of it.
Yeah, well, I hope so. And I do know in race situations, my mind is very, very different.
Mhm.
Also, where we do our runs at this gym too, we run around the backside of this strip mall. And today happened to be a particularly interesting day. I don't know if it's long weekend, but there's a donation center in this strip mall. And at the back, all the dumpsters were being stripped through. So there was people in the dumpsters, and these people were not necessarily sober, and I started to get yelled at. So I kind of started to change my run plans too. So I was also creeped out by the dumpster divers. um so that could also have been part of me dreading the runs. But yeah, in a race situation, when you have your people cheering you on, and not people yelling at you from a dumpster, it probably does feel a little bit different and a little bit more encouraging. Um, yeah, but I mean, it was a really good feel for what the stations would feel like.
Mhm.
My quads were already starting to blow up on the second Deca fit, which again is good practice. But yeah, it was interesting. I think if an ultra, to me though, I think in the future, if I'm going to sign up for an ultra that's indoors, I hope it's in the winter, because
Mhm.
right now I think if I was going to do an ultra, I would want it to be outside, just being in the summer in July and stuff. So, and I also spent the weekend watching a couple of the Golden Trail races that went on, the Mont Blanc Marathon, and all these beautiful, like in Chamonix, France, like these beautiful trail racing ultras. So I'm like, man, and then I go indoors and I train for this Deca Ultra. Like, this is not what I want to be doing right now.
Y- Again, I've said it before. I just all the beautiful scenery is totally wasted on me. It always is. I don't even see it, and
Really?
I know I'm a horrible person for it, but I just don't even notice it. It's just I don't know. I'm just that guy. I just for some reason. But I get it. I understand why people would prefer that, but for me it just doesn't matter. However, my new shoes are called Mount Blanc, so
Oh, there you go. Well,
that's
then did you watch the marathon this weekend?
no,
The
I
trail
didn't.
marathon? No.
I didn't. I would have. Actually, I would have considered it. I did try to watch what was this weekend, Warax. OCR Report did Warax, which looked like a really cool obstacles and a really good course. But I don't know. The stream OCR streams are just so tough. They're just so tough. And
I
it just
know.
and having not really knowing, the names of anybody really big name, it wasn't a big name race. All I'm gonna say is it looked like a cool race and one that I would
Yeah.
actually like to try one day.
Hmm.
Obstacles look awesome, the course looked awesome, stuff like that. As far as a competitive race and that, I mean, that might be different. And a stream that I think it was very difficult. They, again, limited. limited people to help Jason and OCR report out. Um, but yeah, I think it. I think most of the good races now, right now, for OCR are in Ohio and Quebec. They seem to be holding OCR in North America together. Like in
Hmm.
Ohio, you've got Warx, you've got Midwest OCR, and then you've got Frontline OCR. And all of those look really good. And I think down south you got Phoenix OCR is still going on.
Yeah.
Oh, the Phoenix has one in Ohio as well. So those are the ones that I think with the indie ones that are still going. And then Quebec, you've got Course Extreme,
Yeah.
Dead End Race, X-Men. Um, oh God, I can't remember. There's that other one that it'll come to me at the end, but it's always in the same spot. I can't remember, but they have another good one in Quebec that's very popular. So yeah, though they are like holding it together, I think, for the OCR world in North America, at least
Yeah, I agree. Well, and we've done Course Extreme, and that's such an incredible race too.
it
They
is
do such a good job.
it is a good location. Like for me, it's not my style of running that type of running they have in that area, but it is a good course, and it's like one of those sorts of permanent course, so they keep adding, right?
Yeah.
And
And the
it just
obstacles are innovative, and some of the obstacles are part of the actual train, and they're adding into that, and then some like they're creating and they're making, and they're intelligent and they're challenging but doable. And yeah,
yeah,
there's
it's
not much of that around where it's permanent courses.
no, especially not here, not
Hmm.
in Canada, especially.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I tried to watch a bit of that, but I didn't get to. So anyway, back to you. No, I did not watch Mount Blanc, but I did buy the shoes, and I really, really like them.
they are the ultras.
They're the Ultras, the Mount Blanc, so they are a carbon plated trail shoe.
Hmm.
And I
Have you
think
run in them in trails?
no, not yet. I actually
No.
first got on the treadmill because
Hmm.
they're not like a severe trail shoe, right? They're not like a deep lug. It's just like more like a groomed trail, which and the reason I bought them is I think they're going to be absolutely perfect for RX1.
Oh, okay.
Because RX1, sometimes you're a little on the pavement, sometimes you're a little on the trail. It's never really like bushwhacking, severe craziness, right? Like
No.
the most aggressive one you get is when we're at Mount Rago, and even then,
Hmm.
that's it's
You're still on the service road on the mountain.
yeah, like it's a good trail. So I think they're going to be perfect for that, and really look forward. But ran with them even on the treadmill, felt great, felt really good,
Hmm.
which is good because weren't cheap.
Yeah. Well, the propulsion plate shoes are not.
Yeah, Raya's now plugged her ears. She doesn't want to know. No, I
Hmm.
we don't talk about what things cost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, oh, that's good. So how were the races on on the stream? Actually, I wouldn't mind you send me the link. I'll watch them because I'm always good
Well,
for.
I just watched snippets, right? Because these are long races. We're talking
Mhm.
mountain races. It's just so exciting. They do such a good job. And it's we talk a lot about how coverage needs to be better at Spartan and this and that. And we blame a little bit on cell reception, which is true. But man, what they get with some of these Golden Trail Series races, and then you watch them too, and the spectators it blows my mind. But again, you're talking about places in the world where it's like trail runner meccas, like in Chamonix, France. Everybody, you're that's what you're there for, and we don't have the fanfare here in North America the same as in some of these other places. So it blows my mind. People lining the course, even close like to the summits of the mountain, just fans everywhere. Like they would have had to hike for hours to get to these places. So it's really exciting to watch. Yeah, again, no names that we didn't have. Emika Clark competes in some of these too, but she wasn't there. She did meet Minotaur last weekend.
She
Yeah,
won that, didn't she?
we did. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we talked about that.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just I don't know, it's so cool again. And we see Lindsay Webster had kind of moved over more into sky running, and I get it. The media and the presence there and just the attention that it gets in that space is just and the sponsors that go after, these top athletes in this sport, it's we just cannot compare
So
it with.
why don't we care? Like why don't
Mhm.
is it the fact that we have too much to choose from? Like
As in, why
from a
why doesn't North
spectator,
America care?
from
Like,
a spectator sport, why don't we give a shit? Why is it like and I mean, you can look at it like, I mean, if you watch a New York Marathon or Boston Marathon, that course is
Hmm.
lined with spectators, right?
Hmm.
So why do we not get that for these high-end trail races like they do in Europe?
Well, I think some of it is course design. A lot of them, they start in the village, they
Mhm.
run out through the mountain, they come back. I don't think that they're charging spectators $15 a head to come in and watch the race, which I think was shooting Spartan in the foot with a lot of the races. You don't charge people to come and watch on a mountain.
No.
Um, and again, you can't, it's hard to create a spectator sport when you're charging people to just kind of hang out in a muddy village. Yeah, I think some of it is course design. A lot of them run through the town. So you get people, even if you weren't necessarily a fan, you might as well come out and watch. It's really exciting. They do a really good job of all of the extras. Um, when you just, it's kind of like Hyrox. The finish line is a production in itself.
Yeah.
The mats laid out and all of that too. And just the whole experience of it, I think, is not comparable at all.
No. It, I mean, you see Ironman finish lines like that too, right? Like the clock up there, the
Yeah.
big, it's a
Well, and
spectacle.
back to 2017 OCR
I
Worlds
was saying the same
in
thing.
yeah, when you went through the village and you would have people there that are just there that you're going to come out and watch because it's something to see and it was exciting and the obstacles were in the village
Mhm.
and it's more of that kind of a feel instead of shooting it off, putting gates around it and charging people to come and watch something that they might not know anybody in necessarily. So that's more what it's like.
Spartan has started to do that. Not so much the finish line, but you started to see it, especially at Blue, like Olympus and Stairway to Sparta, both in the festival area.
Hmm.
But it just doesn't seem to be draw. I don't know why, but it's not quite working the same. And maybe that's because the start and finish line aren't in the festival area.
Well, and again, you can't even get into the festival area.
Sorry,
Like normal,
in the village area. I mean.
oh, in the villages. Yeah, at Blue Mountain specifically.
Yeah, and it
Yeah,
is more, and it, like you say, it's more cut off compared to OCRWC, where it's just you could walk up as a person walking by and go, "What is this?" And then, "Oh, I'm going to watch these crazy idiots try to do this impossible rig," and they were
yeah,
really good obstacles set up in there. It was the peak. Like that was
yeah.
unreal
Well,
about
and the finish line went right into the middle of the village.
right into that Irish pub. You're just
Yeah,
over the finish line into the Irish pub.
yeah. You could log roll right into the pub, basically. Yeah.
As it should be. No, it
Mhm.
was great. Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting to see the different places get the different different sports. And I mean, it's no different, right? Like you put a hockey game on here and the building's going to be full. You put it on somewhere else and they'll be like, what is this? And who cares? And away we go. Like World Juniors in Canada is like an
Yeah,
epic annual tradition that we go crazy for. And everywhere else, nobody cares.
right. Yeah, and it's on Boxing Day, like it's your Christmas holidays,
Yeah.
and that's what everybody's doing.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, that's totally.
Yeah,
Um, we never talked about Stanley Cup, by the way. We went to congratulations, Florida. Well done.
yeah.
Mick Girello was very excited and happy.
He's a Florida fan.
I know. So I know two people who are legitimate Florida fans, Mick Girello and Rebecca, who is a lady at the gym we coach at.
Why?
And both of them have the same reason. They were Pavel Bure fans when he came into the lead with Vancouver, and when he went to Florida, they went with him.
Really?
And that's it. That's it. And just yeah. So good for you, Mick. Congrats. Hopefully your foot's better too.
Yeah. Hmm.
Ooh. So Mick and Brendan Neely are signed up and officially going to do doubles Hyrox in Toronto.
That's exciting.
They're going to be a fast team to watch.
Hmm.
Like I am very interested to see because I mean they both obviously have the wheels and no experience, but
Hmm.
neither one's a weak guy. Like they're decently strong men. So
Yeah.
I remember back like OCR stars, Brendan Neely surprised a lot of people when he was actually kind of like that 15K 15-minute 5K speed, and then still doing some good strength stuff and
Hmm.
with very little experience at lifting.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we know Mick trains at a CrossFit gym, so also a strong guy for his size as well.
Yeah. Speaking of CrossFit, I can do muscle ups.
You just discovered this. You
Well,
mean you
I've
can
been
string them together?
nope. I had been practicing. I could never. Now I can actually do so. Earlier this week, I posted a video of me doing two muscle ups in a row.
Hmm.
And but the first one, I actually jump, and I don't jump into the muscle up, but I jump off a box, then into the swing, up into the muscle up, then into another muscle up. But after that, and I didn't post another video because it's like so similar. The next day, I actually did pure muscle ups straight off the ground, boom, into the muscle ups, and did three in a row. And I'm like, I think I can now say I can finally do them. That is something off the list, but I have to keep going at it to make sure that it just becomes muscle memory
Yeah, and more efficient.
and fuck efficiency. All power. Run it out, man. Hmm. But
Strict all day.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, they got to be ugly, right? I can't have them looking too good.
Yeah,
It'll wreck my image.
for your
But
namesake.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's so I was like, I'm really happy. I'm really proud. In the last
Mhm.
one, the one that you can see, I'll send you the video and maybe I'll post it eventually. But it was the first one I ever did, like I said, straight off the ground into it, up and go. And it's just like, yeah, all right. You get the little celebration. Yeah.
Mhm.
So very good. That's one knocked off the do the RX1 Pro list.
Mhm.
One less thing to be afraid of.
Mhm.
But still a lot of things to catch. But that one won't get me. So
Mhm.
now, and I said too, if I could had the skills now that I did, or skills in January that I do now, I would have made quarterfinals for the Open
Okay, yeah.
because
Well,
I can
next
do
year.
what's that? Yeah,
Next
exactly,
year.
exactly. And I'd like to do that. I'd like to make quarterfinals for the Open. I mean, I think that'd be pretty good for a guy who doesn't actually do CrossFit. I'd be happy with that.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, I know just about everybody and their dog make quarterfinals, but I want to be everybody and their dog.
Yeah. Mm.
And apparently doing one and a half out of the three workouts isn't quite enough to get me there.
Hmm.
Maybe two and a half out of the three will get me there.
Hmm. It's
So
a good goal.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. Just a little side thing. Just a little side thing.
Hmm.
What else do we want to talk about? So your workout, how competitive do you think the ultra is going to be?
I don't know. I was thinking about that too this weekend, and I don't even really know for sure who's going. I know Heather White is going to go. There's another girl who jumped into Spartan who's an ultra runner. But yeah, I just don't know. And again, we've talked about this too. They promise a bunch of prize money, but I mean, I hope nobody's getting their heart set on ever actually seeing that money. So people aren't showing up to anything Spartan expecting money. So I don't really know if it will be that competitive. It's kind of like a race. Oh, that sounds kind of fun. Um, but yeah, I don't hear a whole lot of people talking about it as a race that they're super focused on.
No, and it's a shame. And you know, we've said it for a long time that and we're not against we're Deka fans. We're not against Deka. We're not against Spartan. We are fans of both. But it's gotten to the point where this practice of not paying is costing them athletes and costing them athletes who are just saying, you know what, I'm not going to go on and complain anymore. I'm not going to do that. I'm just not coming back. I just don't care.
Yeah,
And what happened is you have the worst thing possible. You know, they say any press is good press. Well, now it's not press, it's apathy. And they're just like, I don't care. I'm out. Is that the right
yeah.
word? Empathy. Empathy?
No,
Apathy?
apathy. Apathy.
Apathy? I had it right the first time.
Yeah, not
English
caring. Yeah.
language is stupid. Why make those two words so similar? They're completely different. You make them similar.
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah. So they just like me. No, I'm out. I mean, like Chris had a post recently. She's like, yeah, I just not
Yeah.
interested. You know,
Yeah.
don't want to.
Anything. Yeah. She said anything Spartan. It's just it's hard to work with. And it's not it's not that everybody races for the money.
No.
It's more that you said you were going to pay and then you didn't.
Mhm.
And then you said you were going to make it better and then you didn't. And we Chris has a job. It's not she doesn't rely on the money. It's more the like the disrespect of saying you're going to pay people and not.
Yeah.
And then, just not really seeming to work hard to make it right. And same thing, I'm owed a bit of money as well. And I honestly, even when it was said they were going to give prize money, after about a month, I'm like, we're never seeing that money. Like it's hard to keep coming back knowing that it's almost like they just don't necessarily respect the elite side of things. And in racing, it should be like do what you say you're going to do. And in business too, I've always held to the idea, the saying, under promise, over perform. Like do more than you say you're going to do. Like wow people once in a while. And when the bare minimum would be to give someone a check on a podium, like if we got a check on a Deka or a Spartan podium, people would be like, what? But that really is kind of bare minimum. I've been handed checks on other podiums, and that's, it's kind of standard practice. It makes it easier. It's kind of part of the budget of the race. You
North of
promise
seven,
this
envelope
price.
with cash.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Way to go,
it's.
Sylvie.
Yes, exactly. And again, it doesn't have to be a lot. Not OCR and hybrid. Most people aren't making their living doing
No.
this. It's just we just want the companies to do what they say they're going to do. So I really think at this point with Deka and Spartan, people are just over it.
Yeah, and I mean like so and I'm gonna kind of speak for some people, and I can't say this is entirely accurate, but like we know Chris isn't this is a problem and this is a reason one of the reasons she's not running Spartan. I'm just gonna say, do you think Emma Cook Clark is gone because she didn't like OCR?
No, she
No,
loved
she
it.
loved it, right?
And she did it even when her sponsors said they didn't care about it, but she did it
Mm,
because she loved it.
yeah. But then jerked her around. And this is not Emma telling me to tell you guys that. I'm just telling you what I observed.
Hmm.
Ariel Fitzgerald, same thing. Would have been top, let's just say top 10 in any OCR race, top five, possibly top one in some of them, right?
Hmm.
Um, Same deal. Like they're losing athletes to this stuff. Even, when you think about Rich Ryan was never the biggest OCR guy, but when it comes to that, so he's moved on, right? And Rich isn't is bare. I don't think Rich is running deck anymore for reasons like that. And that's
Yeah.
they're chasing people away with this. And the worst part, this is the worst part, is like if you think about the people you see at the races, Yancey, Nelson, and on the and guys like that, and um oh whatever, Preston, all those people,
Yeah,
right? It's not them.
I know. Yeah.
It's not them. It's above them. It's way above them. And the problem is what ends up is that those are the guys, unfortunately, who have to deal with the backlash. And I feel for them because they have to defend their product and their product's practice that has nothing to do with them and that they're doing everything they can to fight.
Yeah.
So it's very disappointing. That's why I'm never hard on those guys because those guys they're doing their best. They're doing everything they can. And
Yeah.
they're fighting with one hand tied behind their back, which
Yeah.
is terrible. But like I said, it's gotten to me where people are all like, "Oh, Spartan's making up for the money or COVID or this or that." I'm sorry, this has gone on long enough. This is now a business practice.
Yes, I agree. And I think people gave them a little bit of leniency and forgiveness post COVID, but at this point, it feels a little bit like an abusive relationship. We're going to keep promising you we're going to do something and never change.
Yeah.
And if you keep coming back, if you keep accepting the same bad behavior, they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like if they don't lose more and more athletes, then they're going to keep doing it. But again, at this point, I don't know if they have any plans to make it right.
Like I said, it's like a business practice now. My biggest gripe right now is if you're not going to pay, just stop promising it.
Right, which is why I'm really curious about this ultra. It's a couple grand that they're promising for prize money.
2 grand for first place. So essentially a regular Deca Fit event doubled, right? So
Hmm.
2 grand for first. I think it's 1,500 for second or whatever, 1,000 for third. It's something along that lines. But I know it's two
But
grand for
why are
first.
you promising more prize money when you haven't paid people from Deca Worlds
Yeah. Yeah. It's and then again from Spartan Worlds, there's a lot of people that are still owed quite a
from
bit. I mean,
2021?
VJ,
Yeah.
VJ, I know that's why VJ's out of Spartan now.
Hmm.
He's sick of it, right? Like it just, and it's really sad. And from Spartan's perspective, and I'm sure the head office would be like, well, realistically, we're business. What do we care? We're still filling our things. And that, yep, you are. You're still having great open waves and sold out events, but it's not the sport you say. So if that's what you want to be that. Be Mud Hero,
Yeah.
right? Cool. Just don't say you're something else,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Well, and stop promising money. But I don't think Deka especially wants, like, they also don't host a world championship if you don't want that competitive side of it. Like, I feel like with Deka, with their global leaderboards and their like age group races and everything else and elite races and having a world championship, I don't feel like that's their prerogative. Obviously they want mass numbers, but you're hosting a world championship. So you are also interested in the elite side of things. So, and Spartan has a world championship. So they do still want that.
Yeah. So the guys on the ground, they care. They want the best. The guys up top, and especially like say for Worlds, so Yancey and them, they want to have a Worlds. They want to have a good time. They want to have a great event. And same with Spartan Worlds, they want to have a great event. But the people up top, they're just it's just dollars and cents to them. And I
Mhm.
firmly believe that somebody within that company is come to the realization that if we just wait and wait and wait, some people will just let it go away. And yeah, I mean, I've talked about it before. I've seen it in construction, you know. They just don't pay forever until that bloody company goes out of business.
Yeah,
And
I've never seen anything like this. Like, that just sounds so bad to me.
well, I think it's the difference between small business and big business. Small business is people working very, very hard, and big business is cutthroat and nasty.
Well, and I think it's the difference with the fact that Spartan is a business first.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. But make no mistake, so is Hyrox. Hyrox is a business before racing. That's some of the things they do that piss me off, and that's because of the way that that's run. You
Hmm.
know, and they don't, as far as I know, don't have this same problem with paying. That's not their issue. For me, their issues are other things, which are comparatively much smaller issues, but still a business before sport type thing.
But
So,
I feel like, though, with Hyrox, their best practices are still to make the sport itself better and to improve. Although we've seen bad judging, but I still think even with the lasers with wall balls and stuff, they're still trying to figure out ways to make it better. And they super showcase the top athletes. Like, that is a massive priority because they also realize with sport growing, you need those icons in the sport for people to look up to and people to aspire to. And that's one of the things that I think Spartan has backwards. Like, it's they don't care. But in any sport, like, having the role models in it are also what helps the sport grow and build. So I think in that way, yes, Hyrox is a business first also, but it's like they haven't missed out on the aspects that make a good sport also.
and that's because, and I'm going to say like Hyrox's Elite 15 is part of their marketing plan, and they're not looking directly. So Spartan's always looking at the ROI, right? The return on investment. And they're kind of like, okay, well, we're investing this into the elite program, putting all this money in there, but I don't directly see um, you know, Ryan Kent competing in our Spartan worlds, selling more tickets for our Spartan races, right? So they're looking at that exact ROI, that exact return on investments, that direct correlation. But Hyrox has figured out, and a lot of other sports have figured this out, that it doesn't exactly work that way. You don't see it directly. But what you see with Hyrox is they've invested all this money into the Elite 15, into the sport, into making it this spectacle. And that is what's driven the popularity. That's what's driven stuff. That's what's brought in sponsors, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just about getting your ticket sales. It's about bringing in big name sponsors, bringing in stuff like people are now starting to make shoes specifically for Hyrox, right? Like it's like I
Yeah.
said,
Or
it's not.
broadcasting companies. You
Yeah,
know, we're not there yet, but we have, Puma was helped to bring up the broadcasting situation. We've never had that with Spartan, like the one year with NBC, but
yeah.
that was it. And then it was done.
Well, and the problem was Spartan decided it was too expensive, and they keep doing the thing of, all right, this worked really well. Let's do it again for half the price and see what we get. And
Mm-hmm.
that's it just doesn't work. Well, it's it might work for a little bit and then it slowly peters off and it takes away. And that's why right now Hyrox is the cool party to be in because they've made it cool and everyone wants a piece of it. Everyone wants to be there. Everyone wants to do it.
Hmm.
and they just don't have it. Like you look at Spartan and Deka or Deka and Hyrox, they're not that different as far as a
Right.
sport, right?
Hmm.
It's just one's being attacked as we're going to invest and make a sport, and the other one is get enough people in to pay for the building, for the venue for that day.
Which they might have got for free anyways.
Yeah, yeah. So that's all they're looking at, a much short-term vision compared to what Hyrox is
Yeah.
doing.
Hmm.
And it's sad because like for me as a viewer on the same production level, I'll watch a Deco fit over a Hyrox because it's way faster action, especially a relay. A relay is beyond exciting, right?
Hmm.
But when you put in now the production value, ooh, the Hyrox production value is so good, so exciting. And no offense to OCR Report, they do amazing with what they got, right?
Yeah.
Considering like it's like one guy, no budget, doing unreal things
Yeah.
compared to I don't know how many tens of thousands Hyrox is spending
Hmm.
per live stream. But in
Yeah.
showing, that's why you're getting people showing up to your events. Like you're getting all these high-end CrossFit people show up. You're getting random, like people are talking about it. It's just
Hmm.
the proof is in the pudding, and they're making it work. They're on now on level with CrossFit as far as production, or
Yeah.
really, really close anyway. And CrossFit's doing, they're dropping now their production. Like we're seeing in semifinals, there was less days of coverage and more kind of less cameras for day one. And now we just saw they're not bringing Sean Woodland in for the CrossFit Games. And I mean, like, how blown away by that?
With no explanations.
Yeah, yeah. And I thought it must be cost cutting. That's the only thing I can think of because he's like the voice of CrossFit.
Hmm. Yeah.
I listened to him on the podcast, and again, he took the high road, being the guy he is, and obviously not wanting to burn a bridge. Hopefully, come back one day. But he said he goes, I still have not been told why,
Wow.
And I'm like,
Not
"Nah,
even like a made up explanation. Like
no, no.
we're restructuring the.
From what he said, he's got nothing, right? So I'm like, wow. And that would be, I was trying to think of an equivalent for like OCR hybrid that would roll with that. And I mean,
Well, it's kind of like oh
yeah.
my goodness, the trail guy that designed all the trails.
Oh, Steve Hammond. Yes, Hammond.
Like letting Steve Hammond go.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, and Garfield Griffiths. Yeah, yeah. I guess that's a pretty similar correlation. That one works as far as like the how well they're known in the community and how shocking it was, both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's
And
that's a
well
good.
liked and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, like that's that. I think, and this is the problem is everybody's saying like CrossFit's for sale, and it's being run by business people now,
Hmm.
and it's not doing as well because it's being run by business people. Whereas before, and I mean, obviously Greg Glassman had his issues and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but it was his not just his business, it was his passion. He believed in it
Yeah.
100%. He's like, this is everything I believe. This is my concept. This is my idea. This is my belief system.
Hmm.
And now it's just a business, and all they see is ROI, right? Return on investment. Same thing. And they think everything's interchangeable, and it's not.
No, it's different.
Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not.
Hmm.
And we'll see how it goes for them. I wonder if it'll affect the viewing for this games or not. I think more so it might affect the next one, especially if the commentary or is not just enough. And this is the problem. Who wants to be that guy that is commentating the CrossFit Games this year?
Well, have they announced the replacement?
I think it's Chase Ingram, who's not bad, you know,
Mm.
right? But I'll tell you right now, as a guy who's done commentary, if they came to me and said, you know, hey, would you like to commentate the CrossFit Games? I would say, of course, yes, absolutely. But I would be like, you're just the guy that's going to be the guy after the guy.
Yeah, who might have
And
taken half of the weight, the salary.
yeah, and you're no matter how good you do, you're not him. It's not going to be good enough.
Yeah.
And it won't be till the guy that replaces you that
Hmm.
people will be, oh, well, no, he's not great either, but he's not this guy. And we didn't like that guy because he
Hmm.
replaced. So I don't know. It just, again, if it's cost cutting, it's sad to see.
Hmm.
and I hope it's not. We didn't put this on the list, but did you see JK and Hiller?
No.
Okay. So this goes back, and I think we talked about it where Hiller put up a post, kind of bad mouthing the targets, the automatic targets a little bit, which we did as well. And JK, James Kelly, posted on there, "Hey, um, you don't know you weren't there." And Hiller responded with, "Well, neither were you." And what somebody else said, didn't you come third and all this stuff? So anyway, Hiller, to his credit, brought JK onto his show.
Hmm.
So brought James Kelly onto a show, and they had a CrossFit versus Hyrox. It was not nearly heated like that. It was actually very cordial, and they got along very well. But what they did come through was in the process of trying to understand each other, right? So Hiller's trying to explain to people and understand what kind of athlete and high level athlete a top level Hyrox athlete is compared to a top level CrossFitter. And so they got talking about Fran, because he's trying to let people figure out, like, so like what's your times for certain things so his CrossFit audience can understand what kind of level JK's at. And he said, "Have you ever done Fran?" He's like, "No, I've never done Fran." He goes, I can't, I've never done butterfly or kipping pull-ups. So, and he's like, eventually they worked it out where Hiller says he's done a strict Fran, strict
Mm.
pull-ups, and said he could do it. He actually said he could do it under 3 minutes. For those of you who don't know what Fran is, it's 21, 15, 9 of pull-ups, and for men, 95-pound barbell thrusters. So Hiller ended up doing a video because James Kelly said, I think I could do that, right? With strict pull-ups, I could do it. So Hiller's did his video, and some people on Hiller's, even on the comments, said, you are not doing strict Fran in under 3 minutes. So
Hmm.
Hiller did it, and he ended up, I think it was high threes, maybe close to four, maybe even over four, but around the 4 minute mark. So James Kelly responded and did the same thing, did it strict, and Hiller beat him, but not by much. JK did really well.
Hmm.
Hiller got him on the pull-ups, especially the first round. First round, Hiller, I think, did 20 unbroken strict pull-ups. And so, good for him, right? You guys, you did a good job. So that was kind of the level now where some of the CrossFitters can see, even though that's not what James Kelly does.
Yeah, cool. Like you
Like,
beat a Hyrox athlete in a 2-minute workout.
well, yeah, no, I'll call it 4 minute plus, but still what it is, and it does show that James Kelly, his fitness level doing pretty well in a workout that is nothing to do with the event he does. There are no
Yeah.
pull-ups, and I mean there are no heavier, no, not heavier, 95 pounds isn't very heavy, but there's no barbell thrusters or pull-ups in High Rocks.
Yeah.
And it's just showing how well he did. So I thought he's really represented himself and the High Rocks athlete admirably. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
But and I'm definitely going to try. I got to give it a shot. Both strict and because I can do butterfly pull-ups. I'm going to give it a shot with both and see how that goes.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
still, I'm thinking like sub 5 minutes on that for strict is that's not bad.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
it's a well done. He was down to the singles for the pull-ups at the end, but he was
Oh yeah.
still doing great. He went
Hmm.
unbroken in all the thrusters.
Good for him.
So
Hmm.
yeah, so I mean that was just
But he's an endurance athlete, so
yeah, he's got the energy.
21 is like not as much as 100 wall balls unbroken.
No, but 95 is much more than 20 pounds.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Check it out. It's on I think it's on James Kelly's YouTube. That was pretty good. Couple other things to do. There was a Hyrox Singapore. I'll be honest, no real times of interest, but it was back at that really cool venue
Yeah,
in the dome. I think one day you might see Worlds there one year. Just
that's a
hopefully,
trip.
hopefully not one I ever plan to go to.
Yeah.
And there was a Deka, and I thought it was in Australia, but it wasn't. I don't know why I thought that because I think there was some strongs and stuff, but it was in Spain. And in that one, there was actually some times that jumped out on the board. Like, so for the men's, here we got, and again, I'm going to butcher some names here. Atoro Lazarzu. Wow, that can't be right. I'm going to share the screen here so Bethany can take a stab at these. All right, so here we go. Would that be Atoro Lazarazu?
Yeah, Lizarazu.
Lazarazu. Anyway, but
Aitor.
yeah, Etor.
A tour.
A-Tar, with a thirty
Uh-huh.
fifty two. That's that's legit. That's not bad. And that'll be a 3 lap course too, not a 2 lap.
Why?
Because Spain always does 3 laps because they do it in a smaller venue. And plus they usually do a trifecta or a decafecta weekend with all three. And so when you
Yeah, why don't we do that here? That would make things so much more
I know
convenient.
I know when you go to the mile after that, all you do is it's just 1 lap. It's all already set up and it's just 1 lap.
That would
I'm
be
the
nice.
same. I like, and you can hold it at that point. You can pretty much hold it in hockey arenas.
Huh.
I think Spain's doing it right.
See, I thought that Decafits always had to be a standard course.
Spain has been doing it this way. They've been
Well,
doing 3 laps the whole time. All right. Alphonse de do I don't think his whole name's there, but that's Alphonse who does sometimes he's in the Elite 15 for Hyrox with 30:55. And
uh-huh.
then go for it, Beth.
Pau Nacienta Marianas.
That's pretty good, I think. 31:03. So
Uh-huh.
those times are actually all good enough to be in the top 15.
Oh, wow.
All right. And then for the women as well, um, 34:09, 35:504. I think those 2 times as well are in the top 15 right now. 36:15 maybe, but I don't expect that to be in the top 15 come Worlds.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah.
But the top two,
Yeah.
those have a shot. So if people come over from Spain, some of these people are putting in some good times,
Hmm.
and it will be interesting. So keep watching.
Yeah,
And yeah,
we'll see if they do.
if you get any highlights, they do them in like a hockey arena, like a nice stadium arena. That would be so amazing to see Worlds or something like that. The video, like you could do like
Yeah.
the one camera from the top, and it would be awesome.
Man, those corners would be tight though after doing a Decafit.
Learn out a corner, get some better shoes,
No, it hurts my left ankle.
make it a figure 8,
Uh,
even more corners.
yeah.
I don't
But I
mind.
mean, we have no shortage of hockey arenas with lots of seating, so
And even ones that like don't have a ton, like the ones that for OHL teams that seat like 5,000, like those ones are indoor
yeah.
soccer arenas and stuff like
Or
that.
like, we have stadiums where if you designed a race that was
On a 400-meter track,
400-meter track.
who would have thought of that?
Oh, that's too smart. Speaking of track, what I did a
Yes.
lot of this weekend, we had our Canadian Olympic Trials Championships and the US track and field qualifiers. So I spent a lot of time watching track and field this weekend.
I figured you would
Yeah, yeah. They shouldn't have both at the same time. It's just stressful.
have.
It's too much on my phone.
I'm out
Mm,
here on my paddleboard with
I
my
know, I gotta
phone.
know what happened.
Anything else?
Um,
What happened? What happened? Where are we at?
Well, I mean, with our Canadians, we it looks like so far we're fielding less athletes than the previous games, which that happens from time to time. Canadian standards are also a little bit different. We
Mhm.
always go with the A standards. You have to make A standard, then come top three. We don't have the depth of the US either, but we have a couple, I mean, some of the notable ones, which people might know, like Muhammad Ahmed made his fifth Olympic team, cruising into a 13:10 5K, which is still 20 seconds off his Canadian record. Makes it look very casual, which I'm sure is extremely frustrating to everybody behind him, but
Yeah.
probably one of our best Canadian track runners of all time. We have Lucia Stafford made another 1500-meter team. A lot of our races, we had one athlete that qualified.
Hmm.
So, and some of them none, like our women's 5,000, we will have no women that
Oh.
made standard. Yeah, so, uh, anyways, but then we have a couple new athletes that have never before. Our women's 800 looks different. We just have the one woman, so a bit different. And then the usual suspects, Andre DeGrasse and um, but yeah, if and obviously some of our listeners would be also paying attention more to the U.S. trials, and there has been some races for the history books in the U.S. trials. Like, I don't know if you heard Cindy McLaughlin
Mhm.
went back to the 400 hurdles and um, seemingly casually set a world record. Literally looked like she was jogging in the last 100 and set a world record in the four hurdles. And yeah, just she's such an incredible athlete, and only 24 years old, going into her second Olympics. So, and was the Olympic champion. So that will be an interesting race in Paris if anyone thinks they can contend. Some of the women's races on the track though were some of the most epic. The women's 1500 was like a full-on sprint off. And three women, like the fastest 1500 ever run at Olympic trials. So we had three women go 3:55, which is just absolutely incredible. Um, yeah, and Ellie St. Pierre, who had a baby in less than a year ago, won the women's 5,000 and was third in the 1500. So is going to be a two-time Olympian again. She went to the last Olympics. So just some really big stories. I don't know, it was just even the women's 3,000 steeplechase again came down to a sprint off with a couple athletes. And I don't know, the US track trials, like all of the races are just so, they're all nail biters. Like just the depth of the field, especially I found this year on the women's side was just so crazy to watch.
That's unreal. That's unreal. I had recorded a lot of it, but I haven't had a chance to watch so much. Um,
Hmm.
I'll be perfectly honest, I'm an auto racing fan, and through the weekends, it's so hard to even just keep up with that. But I'm just seeing some of the clips on Instagram and whatnot. It just looks like amazing, like they've been killing it.
Yeah.
Even the Canadians, I
The
heard a couple of teenagers and stuff making it and whatnot. And
I'm trying to think who you might be. Like in the US?
I don't
Yeah.
know if it was US or Canada, but a couple of 16-year-olds, I think. Anyway, I just thought that it was crazy how,
Hmm.
and
Well, so
I'm a
Canada,
fan.
it's also our national championship. So we also have like the U20s going on
Hmm.
at the same time. So there's a lot of races. So there's like the junior national championship at the same time.
Oh, and
But
what was the one you just sent me to? As a girl who looked more like a hybrid racer than a runner.
oh, so the women's 1500. Yeah, that's McKay. So it's so interesting, and this was something that I could talk about it a lot because it's part of my history too. But with the that women's 1500 again, Emily McKay. So she was second in the 1500, and it came down to a sprint off. She's part of the New Balance program, which has an amazing group of women that train there. And Ellie St. Pierre was also part of that, the sprint to the finish. And the the strength of the women, it's a completely different type of athlete now on the track, especially on the women's side, than in the 90s when I grew up watching track. And Emily, she had such an incredible kick and it earned her spot on the 1500, and the race was so fast and furious, and it came down to some very very strong athletes. And just she's so strong, and I sent this to our group chat too, just being like, she looks like a hybrid athlete. She has upper body, she has delts, like she's jacked. And again, when I was growing up racing track, women didn't look like that. And if someone like that, when I ran university, came onto our track team, like I was, we would have been told by our coach that we were too big. We needed to stop lifting. Like I was very discouraged from picking up a weight ever, especially upper body. And I was always told, like, you don't need arms to run, like, you don't need arm strength to run. And, this Emily, again, McKay, is like the opposite of what was encouraged back when I was growing up running track. And again, if there was more women like that, and if that was what we saw growing up, I think a lot of my track experiences would have been very different, especially my university career where, upper body muscles had nothing to do with running fast. So anyways, I love what I see now with these women who are just destroying these track races.
So my question to you, and this is kind of you know, say what you want, but would you or do you believe that had you been allowed to strength train, weight train more so in college, do you think you would have been faster?
I think I would have been able to be in the sport longer and therefore would have had greater potential.
Would have been more durable.
Yeah. So I ran fast, quickly because of what happened, but I didn't last because I was so breakable. So because ultimately, especially with female athletes, we peak later. So to be able to put in 5, 8, 10 years of solid training to actually realize your full potential comes from being a healthy athlete. So if you're training in a deficit, like an extreme deficit, overtraining, undereating for the short amount of time just to run fast, especially in your college years where you're not close to your prime yet. You don't really even have a sense yet of what you could, especially if you become, like I became a very fragile athlete. Like I couldn't make it through a season without a stress fracture. So I think long term, 100% I would have been better. Would I have run as fast in university? I don't know. I can't say.
Yeah.
Um, but I would like to believe that if I did it in a healthy way, I would have. Yes. And just accepted I'm built differently than some other track runners. I carry muscle. And that's how I came into university. And at that time, and the coaches that were there, they didn't believe that that's what a good distance runner was supposed to look like. So yeah, it's a very different time now, and I'm really happy to see it. It makes me sad for the world I grew up in, and a lot of the women too that I ran track with were in the same boat. And a lot of them can't do even. I'm grateful that I can do what I do now, and that I got out of it, and I can still run and I can train. But some of the women that I grew up with in that same world, they can't. And a lot of the damage that happened to them because of it all was a little bit more irreversible. Um, as far as bone density and just their bodies just can't handle it because there's certain things that you grow under the age of 25. Our bone density is established under the age of 25 that you can't get that time back. So yeah, I'm grateful that I can do what I do now. But yeah, I think it would be a very different world for me growing up and seeing these athletes now that we see on the track who are strong, healthy looking athletes.
Well, hopefully that at least just means young girls, especially growing up now, are not getting treated the same way and they're learning, hey,
Yeah.
power and durability are good things.
Yeah.
And it's not all about being as skinny as possible. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's awesome.
Yeah. I agree. Mhm.
Cool. Let me see. What else do we have here? Is there anything else big? I think we might have hit most things.
I think we hit most of it for
Yeah.
sure.
You know what? I'm good. I'm good with that. I think that's right. There's nothing else here that's oh, here, we can do this really quick. It's death race time.
Oh God.
Death race is dumb. I'm good. You all right?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna read this quote that I saw because I'm like, what do people pay for the privilege of the death race? So then I kind of got on a little bit of a thread of people that have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you pay $500, by the way, for the privilege of
Oh,
doing the
I
death
guessed three. I guessed three. So I was
and
wrong by
being
a lot.
potentially like humiliated and doing things completely asinine. Especially from what we saw this year, I was disgusted. I don't know why anyone ever signs up for this anymore. So this was on the thread about the death race and people asking about their experiences. If you go in understanding that it's not fair, not really a race, that the ones who have already taken place were better or maybe harder than yours, you can't cheat the system except where you can. And it's worth the trip just for the general store breakfast sandwich. You'll be fine.
So if that's for you, have a good time.
Yeah.
You know what bugs me about it? I had a little talk with Tara about this, and she said that it was very different before. If this was just a like incredible physical ordeal, I
Uh-huh.
could get, I could understand it. Like if it was days of we're up at 6, we're up at 4, we're up at 3:30 in the morning, we're slugging 23 miles, we're
Mhm.
carrying this, we're moving that, we're doing this, we're doing that. Oh, we're gonna do 6,000 burpees for time.
Yeah.
And if the people who are out are the people who didn't finish, the people who come last, the people who didn't win, but it's
Yeah.
completely arbitrary as to who they send home. And that's what
Yeah.
drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, oh, who can eat the raw egg? Or I'm like, who fucking cares?
I agree. Yeah.
Like,
I don't like that kind of stuff.
I'm just, it's I hear the one poor guy and the guy saying, I'm gonna do this to make my son proud. Dude, your son is gonna be proud of you no matter what. You want to make him
Hmm.
proud, make sure you're healthy and make sure you spend time with him. Make sure set a good example. You
Yeah.
don't need to do this stupid crap to make him proud.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
yeah. I feel for some people who maybe get into if for the people who love it, whatever, man, do your thing. I don't care. You're not hurting anybody.
Yeah,
But for the people who are getting into it for the wrong reason, I feel really bad for you because I think it's just a complete demeaning shit show.
I agree. Yeah.
And yeah, that'll probably be the last I'll talk about it for because I just
Yeah, that's enough attention it deserves,
yeah,
I
I
think.
think so. I think so. It's just go do Joe's lawn chores, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm cool. Take us home.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening. Happy Canada Day to all of our Canadian listeners. And we hope you had a great weekend. We will see you soon at some races that are coming up, hopefully. And yeah, all the best. Keep crushing it.
One more thing. Hyrox did add an extra day. Everybody on the
Yeah.
wait list got first crack at it. Now it's open to the public. If you didn't get in the first time, do not wait. It might even be sold out by the time this comes out. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're thinking I should go, sign up because it's not going to be
Mm-hmm.
should. You don't have a lot of time. Just sign up and get into it. Dive in. Take care.